After more than a year of work, our Bloxburg Lakeside town is finally complete and is ready for the grand tour. So for a quick overview, this plot is really hefty because the plot value is a total of $2.8 million and the plot data is almost non-existent, and there's a wide variety of building types, and what I mean by that is some of the older builds are really bad compared to the newer ones that use the transform tool and things, so don't mind that. But with all that in mind, we can start by breaking down the town into two parts. Firstly, there is the city centre, which includes the downtown and commercial buildings, and on the other side of the plot we have the lakeside, which has the lakefront, rural and residential areas. So with all that yap out of the way, let's get started. To start off, we have the Acorn Cafe, which was one of the first buildings that I built in this town. It's a cute little corner shop with an industrial kind of interior, and it includes a little food cabinet with some cakes. I'm pretty sure someone stole all the cake pops out of a jar, but there's also a variety of seating with a laptop area, so you can just sit here, do your work and drink some coffee. Beside the cafe is the flower shop, which I think has every flower in game, and it also has an apartment above which connects to the rooms above the cafe, and inside is a very floral type of vibe. We've got some flowery wallpaper, some bouquets. The counter has a sink area just to, make sure the flowers don't die or anything. And upstairs is the apartment. The lighting is a little crap, but it is what it is. It's because of the light boxes and stuff, but the whole aesthetic is supposed to be a very botanical kind of style with lots of green and plants everywhere. It's real tiny, but it fits all you need for an apartment. Smack bang in the center of the town is the town hall. There's a little fountain area at the front with some flowers. We got some staff parking, and inside it's got a purple royal vibe with the reception, and there's also a few offices for the other staff that work there. And then up the elevator there is the bathroom area, so you can take a whiz if you need to. And then beside that is the mayor's office with a nice little view of the lake. In the downtown area is the New York styled apartment. Emphasis on the styled, okay? I know it's not accurate to a real New York apartment, but as you can see, it's very small, but you can fit all the essentials in here. We've got the bathroom, we've got the living room and the kitchen. I know it's a massive safety hazard, but it's okay. And then we also have the bedroom. Next is the most essential building, which is the McDonald's. So once again, it's quite small. There's no playground or anything, but there is a little space for a small seating area with a TV. We got a menu, and the kitchen, it's struggling, but it pretty much fits all of the essential appliances. And then we also have the smelly little bathroom. Beside the Macca's is the clothing store, and this is supposed to be like a very bougie, high-end kind of shop, so I went for a minimalistic concrete aesthetic, so it looks a little bit on the expensive side. And yeah, there's just heaps of clothes. We've got changing rooms with mirrors, and we also got a mannequin. Next is the candy store, and I really love how the exterior turned out on this one. I used heaps of soft pastels for my colour palette, and it was a little bit hard to get candy because Bloxburg's options are limited, so I had to do my digging on the internet. But overall, I think there's a wide variety of different lollies and stuff, and I like how it turned out. Coming back to this area, we have the op shop, or thrift store as people call it, and I'm not in love with the colour choices because this was one of my first builds I made, but what I was trying to go for was a retro kind of theme. So basically there's just a whole bunch of random junk everywhere, so if you need some random stuff, then you can come on over to the op shop. Beside the op shop is the bookstore, and I built this because people wanted a library, but our town is really tiny, so a little shop would fit a lot better. But it's very medieval in here for some reason, but there's heaps of books, a ladder, and also a little seating area. Next we have the medical clinic, and I had to dial this down heaps because we didn't really have much room to work with, but on the first floor is the front desk reception area. We have some little toys to entertain the little whiny kids, also the same thing up the stairs, and then we also have the one and only doctor's office. I think it has pretty much everything you need. We've got a bed, we have a little sink area for the doctor, and it's kind of got some eye specialist stuff, some dentist stuff as well, but hey, we need to fit it all in this tiny town, so we don't talk about the accuracy of this. Because we didn't have enough space for a full-on school, instead we have a kindergarten. So there's a little daycare place for the smelly little babies who live in our town. So the first floor just has the reception and the toilets, and upstairs is where the chaos starts. It's very cluttered with all the toys, but there's heaps to keep them occupied. We have colouring tables, heaps of toys, and also a cool little wall. To finish up the downtown, we have the town rose garden, and I wanted to add this more in the city centre just so there's some greenery and a place to go for a walk. There is a fountain in the middle and there's heaps of flowers everywhere, and I also incorporated some little park benches, some rocks, and also a cute little rose arch. The first building in the commercial area is the smallest IKEA ever. It's probably not entirely accurate, mainly because I've never been to one before, but people kept asking for it, so here it is. There's a small car park at the front, and on the ground floor is the checkout area and also the decor and lighting section. And on the basement floor is the construction kind of section where it's got all of the building materials and outdoor stuff. And on the top floor is the showroom. It was super tricky to add every room in, but I was able to add a bedroom, living room, bathroom, and also a tiny kitchen exhibit. Next we have our first restaurant, which is the pizzeria. Outside we have a little table, and for the interior I wanted it to be super cozy and have a warm atmosphere. So as you can see, I used some bricks, some concrete, lots of wood, and because Bloxburg only has one type of pizza, I decided to add some other Italian dishes, so there's a little bit more of a menu. And yeah, there's some benches to sit down at, and in the kitchen there is a pizza oven and lots of other essentials. The final building in the commercial section is the gas station. This was my 5th building I made, but it's still one of my favorites. The exterior has 2 pumps with all the equipment to clean and fix your cars. It was a little bit hard to make without the transform tool, but I got there in the end. And I tried to keep everything relatively accurate to a real life gas station, so there's heaps of food and drinks and things, and the front counter has all the lollies and chocolate and also a slushy machine. I also added a custom shelf for the glasses and the toys, and there's also the iconic stinky bathroom because that is very essential. To start off the lakefront buildings, we have the town bank, and I tried to make it a little more on the historical building landmark kind of vibe. And the first floor has the front desk where you can inquire about your banking stuff, and there's also an ATM and a seating area. And upstairs there is the bank offices where people can have meetings or private conversations with bank people. And my most favorite part of this whole build is the hidden vault, which was heavily inspired by Jailbreak, and I added the iconic lasers and the money bags. I probably should have built a police station too, because we're going to get a lot of robberies at this place. Beside the bank is the car museum, which I built with my friend Stegosaurus Soup, and we thought this retro sign would be a cool feature to add. And on the first floor just has the reception where you buy your tickets, and downstairs is where all the cars are. Just a disclaimer, I built these all without the transform tool, so some of them are a little strange, but there's a total of 4 vehicles. There's a convertible, a mini, a race car, and this weird little vintage go-kart which failed really badly. But we also have a little ramp so the cars are accessible from the road, and overall I think it's a unique little building for this town. The last lakefront building we have is the studio apartment, which is above the candy and clothes shop and the McDonald's. It's quite an open plan and incorporates an industrial rustic design with big pillars, and we also have a loft. And yeah, just downstairs there's the living room and the kitchen, and in the loft is the bedroom. As you can see, a theme is going on in this apartment, which is the use of picture frames, because I thought that would be cool. And lastly, we have the very horrid bathroom. Here we have the most important part of our town, which is the lake. There's heaps going on here. We have boats, a waterfall, a rocky shore with a place to sunbathe and have picnics, and there's also lots of nature and a surrounding mountain. So there are 3 boats on the water, which is a small sailboat, there's another fishing boat with a rod out, and the last boat is a rowing boat which is mounted beside the boat dock. So basically this area where the dock is just where people can transport produce and stuff to the markets, even though there's not really any outputting rivers or anything, but just pretend there are. So that is basically the lakeside town lake. Next to the lake is the lake market, which is just a little area where people can trade and sell their produce or the fish they caught. There's a fishing stall with heaps of seafood, and beside it is just some other little stalls with bowls, there's fruit and veggies, and also some spices and herbs. Another building by the lake is the lake shop. I really wanted to add this because you always see them at beaches and stuff, so I wanted there to be a place where you can buy towels, flip-flops, fishing rods. You can also get random souvenirs if you want, and there's also some fish and chips and drinks, just anything that you might need at the lake. Hidden behind the bushes is a small campsite. I know it's a massive fire hazard, but I thought it would be cool to add. And beside the campsite is a big door, and if you enter that door, you will find the bunker. I originally built this at the time Bloxburg became free because it was a big joke back then. So I made sure to have heaps of food and toilet paper. I also added a big monitor to watch through the security cameras outside. So overall, I think it has all the essentials needed for a player, and hopefully it'll be able to keep people out. The residential area consists of 2 houses, so this is the first house. It's definitely my favourite one. It has 1 bedroom, 1 bathroom, but it still has room for a living area and a kitchen. It's pretty openly spaced plan. This is the bedroom here, and the bathroom has everything you need, and then there's also a little garden at the front. The last house in the residential area is this little green cottage, and this was the very first building I made in this town, and it has a front porch with a swing outside. The inside is very small and not very detailed, but it has all you need. There's a kitchen, a dining and living room, and there's also a bedroom with a fireplace, and to top it off there is a little ensuite bathroom. So to kick off the rural area, we have the farm, which is definitely one of my favourite areas of the town. It consists of a barn, a small paddock and a chicken coop. The animals are very simplistic because I didn't have the transform tool, but even without it, I'm glad you can kind of tell what animal they are. So in the barns are the pigs, and the paddock has the cows and the sheep, and then I also added a windmill and a custom tractor. Hiding behind the farm is the abandoned house, and let me tell you, I am so proud of this. I added heaps of details everywhere. There's broken glass, like the window is all shattered, a broken down door, a leak in the roof, and I really just love the spooky vibe it gives. I made this when that homeless update came, so I was able to use heaps of the old mattresses and toilets and ovens, and then we also have a little Shrek basement, which is beautiful, and yeah, that's the abandoned house. The final part of the rural area is the construction site, which I did quite recently. It's very small, but I just wanted to have a little working building kind of area because I wanted to in the city centre but I didn't have enough room. And then we also have a little wishing well right beside it. So there is the grand tour of our Bloxburg Lakeside town. To all my subscribers, thank you so much for your support and the ideas put into it. It's really cliche, but I wouldn't have been able to do it without you guys. I know it's cringe, but thanks so much for watching and following along with the town journey. I will be opening up my neighborhood to my subscribers, so if you are interested, please let me know and I'll plan it all out. I'll probably make a post in my community tab or whatever, trying to figure out all the details. But again, thanks for watching and I'll see you guys next time.